Thank you very much for joining us, Guillaume. Again, massive congratulations. You won the Audience Award at the latest Emerging Filmmakers Night in January. So can you tell us a bit more about that experience? How was it for you?
During this EFN night, I would say very unexpected, very happy, of course. That's a great world tour that this short film is making since the beginning of 2019. And for some reasons out of Europe. So EFN selection is one of them in Europe. So it was kind of very, yeah, I mean, I was glad for this selection just to make like the audience from a European country, interested by it. So getting the audience award is, I mean, above what I could expect. So that was very nice, very nice.
That's good to hear. So can you tell us a bit more about the process of the night? How was it for you having basically your film as part of a live streamed festival as opposed to a live in-person festival? So the fact that you got real-time comments and interactions with the audience, was that helpful at all? What did you particularly like about it, or maybe dislike about that?
Yeah, it was one of the rare opportunity since last year with all those festivals organized online, where I've been proposed to talk and interact with the audience through the chat, which was of course something not as if we would be all together in the same theater, but a kind of still a connection and still some question about not only having the screening of the film, in some places you don't know and you never heard afterwards, but some fresh question that you can see. There's a good response and some good interest regarding the characters, regarding the story itself, the way the film has been made, and so. Yeah, I mean, I felt like not only someone who just sent the link to the festivals, but the director, behind my screen, answering those questions to, kind of audience. So it was nice that they could propose that.
So can you tell us a bit more about the journey of the film? When was it made, and what had you done since you finished the post-production? Had you sent it to any other festivals? Had it been out on any online platforms or VOD or anything like that before you submitted it to Emerging Filmmakers Night?
Yeah, it was even more surprising for me that it could get selected again at the beginning of this year, that we finalized it early 2019. So it's which is, I would say, like regarding the lifetime of a film, quite long, 2 years. So from the very beginning, back to 2 years ago, of course, we submitted to major A-class festival, all directors want their film screened there. So in Berlin, in Locarno, in Cannes, in Venice, in international other places. I got kind of rejected from all those places for, not obvious reasons, but, first, from a French proposal, there are so many, the competition is quite huge, from France, when you want to apply as a French and to be recognized immediately with a very singular or specific proposal in terms of artistic approach, it's a bit difficult. So I was not surprised, of course, a bit, disappointing, because we all directors are making films to be seen, of course, and to have an opportunity to meet at some point some audience. And I got a few selections, but which was okay. 1 or 2 in France. Less surprising because I knew some people, blah blah blah. So it was, and from March, that was last year, I've made this amazing meeting with a young cinema critic from Syria who is in charge of kind of promoter of the young filmmakers from Syria, promoting their short film. And he decided, after we talked, he decided to take care of my film and sending it to many other kind of festivals. And it was a new start, a kind of rebirth of the short film. And from that moment, after only, I would say, the 6-8 first month of the film, only I would say a dozen of festivals. And from the moment he took care of it, we are now about I think 50 or 60 selections around the world, including with this audience award, like 15 international prizes, which wow, for me completely unexpected. Of course, but very unexpected. So yeah.
So he's acting effectively as a sort of agent slash distributor for the film.
He's from Syria. I mean, for some obvious reason, and unfortunately, he couldn't travel much. So his connection to the rest of the world cinema community is through the social medias and his screen. So we had like opportunity to talk first, and then he made magic.
Wow! So right, I misunderstood. I thought you'd met him in France. So basically,
no.
You just met him online.
Remotely online, just online.
Oh wow, that's really impressive. Does he have his own agency or his own setup, or no? It's literally just.
I think just his hands. Just his hands, actually. He's working on his own.
Oh, that's really impressive. Yeah. So now that we've talked about a bit about the journey of Vincent Before Noon, let's go back a little bit on the start of your career. This is presumably not your first film?
The fifth one, so the last one, the fifth short film.
So how did you get into films in the first place? What made you get into filmmaking?
I think it has been coming quite easily, slowly, and it was kind of obvious. I've always been super fascinated by the cinema itself and the experience of being a viewer in cinema from very, very young. I remember I had this neighbor whose father was the director of one cinema in a town where I was living in. So every Wednesday we were there to catch a few, pieces of films every week. So it started to just amaze me every week, and gradually, I started to work as a programmer, as a cinema critic. It was, of course, like kind of serious, but for me, it was just not a joke, but it was not the kind of real job because it was part of my passion. So, but finally, I found this position where I'm still working for the Festival of Three Continents. It's based in Nantes. It's a French film festival, and I'm taking care of a training program for emerging producers and directors from all over the world. Gradually, like since 6-7 maybe, I started to write, and through this last position I found one French producer, and it was the start of something like an exchange, and she gave him the chance to shoot and to finalize some footage I had on my side, and then it was the beginning of something else, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth short film, which now, of course, something that I wouldn't stop for anything, and I'm working on my first feature, starting the financing stage those weeks.
Oh, well, good luck with that. So you've not had any formal training as a filmmaker. You've kind of learned the skills on the go.
No, I'm used to say I'm coming from the cinephilia. So I'm just like a viewer from the very beginning, and having the chance to have some, the first position I had in a cinema, especially, I was inviting some crew of film crew in my cinema. So I had the chance for during few years to meet with directors, actors, DOP, you know, people like that. And gradually I kind of, you know, got some know-how, I don't know, my skills, or but just like not by making, just by learning and
Proxy.
mixing them. Yeah, so it was a bit weird. And then at some point I said, yeah, I think I want to tell story. That's I have something to say. I have this, which I think, for which I think Vincent Before Noon is a good reflection, because this father-son relationship for me is something like, for obvious personal reasons, kind of a deep obsession that I didn't really, you know, end up work on, I would say, or experienced, or yeah, something like that. So yeah, that was the beginning.
So going back to the beginning, what's the first story that you wanted to tell? What was the first short that you made?
The first one is called, it's a kind of documentary. At that time I was shooting every day. I was holding a camera by me all the time, and I was shooting daily and anything. It was so at the end it was a lot of rush and footage. And that was at that time, it was in 2008, my father got to be very sick and finally died from a cancer. And I remember this 40 minutes long shot about my family gathering in a remote place of the countryside nearby my place to scatter my father's ashes. It was something like very intimate, very, you know, like very deep. And I really wanted at that time to keep something with me. I had this very will to be able to recognize. I don't have a very strong memory. So I wanted to have it like recorded. And so I did, which was not the taste of my family, but finally I did. And weeks, it was a difficult but very warm moment at the same time. And weeks later, I just called a friend and asked him to accompany me to watch those footage again, which was the start of something I saw. Oh my God, I have a long shot. I have a 40 minutes long shot that can used like this to make, this is my first thing actually. This is one shot, only one take, and I think I can use it to be my my first. And what we did actually together, he helped me edited it, and this footage was the first connection to connect with the producer in Paris that helped me to post-produce the film and finally make it, etc., etc. And so that was it. Super uncraft, you know, beginning, super uncrafted start with almost nothing. So it was, of course, like not professional at all. There was only me like recording some sounds and putting one mic in a tree, you know, something like that during this scene.
Yeah.
And that's all. And from that moment, after we finalized the post-production of the film, the French producer, like Claire, her name is Claire, told me, okay, there's something within this film, and I feel there's something behind this idea. So who you are, what do you want to say, where you're from, blah, 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 blah. And that was the start actually of many other stuff. And I had this very fast will after this first shoot to write something about the one unique experience I had as a person, like to be raised in the middle of a huge, very large group of women. And for me it was very like logical with the story I had also with my father. That was two things that I could merge in one story. So I started to do it, and this is the core of 10 years later. This is the core of the first feature film I'm about to produce.
Right. So again, you're going back to focusing on familial relationships.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the central focus of your work.
Yeah. That for the very beginning, I admire in a way still the directors who are able to talk about something that they haven't experienced themselves. I have this, I don't know how to call it, but I have this sense of writing stories that I can testimony from directly or in person. The kind of question that I have like experience, but in terms of feelings myself that I have, and it helps a lot my writing. And otherwise, I don't know. Maybe I could have this feeling, maybe to lie to people or something like that. Not to. I know like cinema is all about lying all the time, but still, I mean, for me, the very first thing I think of is like to of course, like to try to disguise what my own experience, but still to tell what I've experienced. And those two major ones, like with the loss of my father, and having been raised by all these 7 women, for me, have been two of the very big experience that I want to develop.
Well, they do say the first advice usually given to filmmakers and young writers is start with what you know.
Yeah. I completely rely to the fact that, because I didn't learn anything, as I told, like so the only thing that can for me make sure that I won't make wrong is to tell something I know by heart. But of course, like if young filmmakers can also learn something like how to write, maybe they could go, a bit away from their own experience. So it's very personal, but of course, I think like maybe for young filmmakers, like to experience something like intimate, to just to see if they feel enough comfortable or more comfortable with another more further topic, or and I would say also the preparation of and the anticipation of everything, like to feel enough comfortable on set and to dedicate the most of the time to actors, to not to have to take care of the materials approach, the settings, the things that, just the actors to meet. It's for me, I'm very like, I don't know how to say in English, but I'm very kind of fed up, with all this huge logistics on a set. It's very heavy to carry and to take care of, and to have an ear for everyone, blah blah blah. So although my idea is to spend most of my time with actors, because there's the core, there's the flesh, there's everything that you can glimpse from the film at first. So my thing is really to focus on them, and of course one thing to help it is to prepare the shooting, to prepare what you want to do, to have time to talk with them a bit before about that was the case with both actors. With Vincent Before Noon, that was very important, because it was very sensitive kind of work with them.
I can imagine, yeah. So you've told us a bit about the stories that inspire your work. What about filmmakers or films themselves? Any influencers in your work? Yeah.
I don't know if I can give names, but at least some very, I would say, realistic kind of director, like realistic in a sense that the one who are telling something like without any magic, without any special effects, or like, so in France, for instance, I don't know if it will ring your audience bell, or they're enough known, but the kind of directors like Maurice Pialat or Claude Chabrol, closer to us, I would say, like a bit Arnaud Desplechin is one of, and also kind of very realistic. I would include someone like Clint Eastwood, for instance, like the kind of person that can tell very strong and frontal stories, turning all the very daily life into tragedies. And for me, this is a great art. And this is the kind of thing that I'd like to tell. The kind of very soft, simple story coming from, people that we can meet every day. But because of the cinema and because of the power of the fiction, we can turn this life into something like, wow, big, to have those, and a great love for characters. I think we can all feel when a director is very interested in directing and working with actors. When we say like a director is loving his or her actors or actress, and I think this also like to have like some big meeting like this with actors. So Ozu, the Japanese, also I like very much. Aung San Suu in South Korea. Many things important to watch films as well.
Yeah. And actually, I've got a question about the logistics behind making your film. So a lot of our viewers, readers, etc., are film students or emerging filmmakers. So you're going to go from making a short now to a feature. This is going to be your first feature. Can you talk us through the logistics of that? Are you securing funding? Are you putting a crew together? How's on the ground? How does that work?
I've been writing for the last 7 years, the story. So it's the development stage was quite long and quite exhausting and desperate sometimes. And so now, last November, I've just, I admit I've finalized this script stage. So now we start the financing that is supposed to last for the coming year, and the shooting is planned spring 2022. It's a co-production, France, Italy, and maybe another European country. We don't know, to raise some other funds. It's a realistic family plot, I would say. So here, no surprise for me. It's set in a remote place of a countryside, unknown countryside, whatever countryside, in a farm. Where the main character, age 30, is called back by one of his aunts, because the last inhabitant of this family farm just died. It's his grandmother, and because his father died 20 years ago, he came and is invited to come to join the rest of the family to share the inheritance. And that's from that moment that he found something not very easy. First, he has to confront his 4 father sisters, his 4 aunts that have apparently something to hide.
Okay, so that's the plot that we're going to be looking forward to. So when you say you were looking for co-productions, is that all you, or did you use an agent or a distributor, or is that your co-producer? What happened? How did that go about?
I have been working on the script, and I'm now dedicate most of my time to the cast and artistic approach. And my producer, I have a producer, was very, very present during also the development stage, helped me to dig my ideas and the story. And now we'll dedicate the next year to the fundings. So to get some partners and to make all those dossiers, very like tricky, you know, things to be done. But it's so it's another kind of work. Now it's we need money. It's money time.
Yeah, that's usually the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in terms of that, has your I guess your success in short films and your history of making shorts, has that helped you in any way to secure funding, to secure partnerships and so on to make a feature?
Not yet. This is something that we will, I mean, check in the coming month, but for sure, because with Vincent Before Noon, that was the very first time that I could reach French public funds at the CNC. Made, of course, like somewhere your name stamped and the title of the film stamped somewhere, which of course within the dossier you can, when you apply and submit for the funds for the feature films, can help a lot. And I think this will help. I think this will help. And also this this collection of international prizes. That's of course like that's a recognition. They can't refuse this, saying like no, we never heard about Vincent Before Noon.
Yeah,
no,
there's been a stamp of approval.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, well, one last question, and it's the obligatory COVID question, I guess. How has it been for you? Has the pandemic affected your work in any way, in many ways? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
It was not depressing at all, in a sense of I could finally, after years of running after my script and time for my script, to just pause, stop my my job, my daily job, and focus on this script, this feature script that I could finalize next November. So for me, that was like a blessing, I would say, in this sense. I have gained probably like 1 full year of altern between my job and the script and my job. So that was one thing, and also I have all those talks with Matthias. Matthias is the actors in Vincent Before Noon, which I have invited to act as the main character in my first feature, so which he accepted, which was good. And from that talk, we have decided to work again. So now we are preparing something like another shooting, which will be way less formal and official than having a script and fundraising and blah blah blah, but just like making very easy with a camera. Stuck in I don't know, countryside somewhere, and with him and a group of his friends who are actors. So it was also this pandemic pose, like a situation to just have new projects and think of what I'm doing and which order I can articulate all those coming things between. Because it's the shooting of the feature film will be, as I said, in 1.5 year. So for me, it's like I don't know. We know it's very, very far. And after the success and the energy brought by Vincent Before Noon, I really want to go back to the set and trying to shoot something else. So now I have this extra project, which was not planned. But I think we'll find something like very light way of filmmaking, like very just one friend holding the camera, someone with a quite strong story, working with those actors. I think that could be a great experience. So it was for me. It was good. It was beneficial.
Has it affected your work as a programmer in any way? I assume it has somewhere, no?
It turns everything completely differently, which here was a bit depressing because I'm used to travel all along the year in Latin America, Africa, Asia to meet those young producers and directors. yeah, so of course, since the last time I've landed back in France, like mid-March from Taiwan, I didn't travel since last March, and I've turned all those workshops virtual online, which is completely. I mean, I'm super happy to have you talking with you. But I mean, it's like we all used to this very weird and synthetic way of speaking with people, and at some point, I know it's not it's not the real job. It's not real life. So that for that point was a bit depressing, but it was okay. There was many good stuff beside to just
well, we'll keep our fingers crossed that it's not real life and this is not the new normal.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking part in the interview. Thank you very much, Guillaume.
A great pleasure. Thank you.